What's happening, guys? It's Andrew and Benny here with Table Talk, a brand new board game channel talking about what games you should be bringing to your table. And today I am talking about games you can't actually bring to your table. We're talking about upcoming games we're anticipating, and this is my top 10 upcoming board games, starting with an honorable mention. Imagine Pokemon, but a knockoff version. That is this game coming to the tabletop soon, currently on GameFound, called Robomon. And you might be like, wow, that sounds very much like a Pokemon knockoff. And it is, and the art is, but it looks like a really cool experience because I grew up playing the Pokemon video games, maybe you did too, and imagining playing that in a board game sounds awesome, except it adds what we never got in the Pokemon games. See, in Pokemon, you know, your Pokemon's fighting the other one, and they literally just sit there on the screen, and you just spam the attack button, and that's it as far as battles go. Well, in this game, you're actually going to move your Robomon around the battlefield, doing different kinds of attacks, and like battling in a tactical battlefield, which sounds dope, and you get to collect them all, run around the world, talk to people, discover secrets like Pokemon in a board game, which I find more relaxing, more social. And so if you want to play Pokemon in board game form and actually battle with your now called Robomon, check it out. Coming soon. My honorable mention, Robomon. My number 10 seems dope, and that is Eternia, The Path We Dare Tread. It looks a lot like Zelda. It's this open fantasy world with incredible artwork. You get to run around and explore, build up your character, build up their stats and abilities, and just explore all of the adventures you'll have and fight monsters, and it seems awesome. And what most excites me is it's coming from the designer of Xia, Legends of Drift System, which is one of the few open world sandbox board games and one of the only good ones. And I love that idea of being able to run around, do whatever you want. There's no specific thing you're supposed to do. And imagining that in a fantasy world instead of space sounds much more like my style, and it seems like it has incredible production and art. I'm so excited for it. So if you want to bring Zelda to your tabletop, it seems like Eternia is going to be the way to do it. That is my number 10. My number 9 harkens back to all of those mystery novels we grew up reading. I'm talking Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes, and just the idea of a unique small town and all the characters and discovering these mysteries back in the day. And that seems to be what Red Cliff Bay Mysteries by Thames and Cosmos is bringing to the table. I'm excited too because Cosmos makes the exit games, which I love escape room games. My wife Claire loves them. We play them all the time. Any mystery game is great because it's an experience unlike any other, except escape rooms, which are way more expensive. So bring that to Table Talk with a unique town of characters back in the day seems like an incredible experience. I'm excited for it. I don't know too much, but that is my number 9, Red Cliff Bay Mysteries. My number 8 is something I'm hesitant about because it's not exactly what you would expect for a tabletop skirmish battling game where characters are running around a board doing different types of attacks and powers. You would expect fantasy warfare. Instead, it's Bugs Bunny. That's right, Looney Tunes Mayhem is coming soon. If you grew up like me, you love the Looney Tunes, and imagining them battling out with different powers and abilities and throwing freaking fireballs and cinder blocks and anvils on top of each other. Dynamite, I'm here for that. I'm waiting to see how good the reviews are before I like jump all the way in, but I want to get all the characters. I love Looney Tunes, so I'm excited for it. See how it is. Number 8, Looney Tunes Mayhem. My number 7 takes one of my favorite games, which the only barrier to it is that it's incredibly complicated and makes it a bit simpler. It's from a board game company that only makes games with 4 letters. That's 3. 4. And that is Ahoy. Coming from the makers of Leader Games. So they made Root, Oath, Vast. These games where every faction is different with anthropomorphic animal fantasy creatures, which I love. I love Redwall. Any book or series like that. And in this game, though, it's much simpler. All the factions are different, but a little closer, where some of you guys are going to be pirates trying to control the seas. Some of you guys are going to be traders, run around shipping supplies in this pirate world where y'all are like dolphins and sharks. Looks dope. And I always love the art and the games, and it seems to be a simpler, more accessible way to get into these types of games by Leader. Excited for it. My number 7, Ahoy. My number 6 is catapulting robots onto a second floor to battle and flicking them It sounds nuts, but that is Iron Forest. So this is the sequel to a game called Ice Cool about flicking penguins around a high school, which also sounds nuts, and this ramps it up by having circular robotic Mets battle each other in the forest, and it's actually 2 levels of play. You launch them in a catapult to get the second level, and it seems like it could be terrible, but it also seems like it could be amazing. Coming from Brain Games, I'm excited for it to see what a unique game it is. My number 6, Iron Forest. My number 5 is from a board game I really wanted to like, but I watched reviews, I was like, but I love the world and the art. It is Undersea Marine Fantasy Warriors going at it, and that is Tidal Blades, Rise of the Unfolder. So the first one was about running around doing competitions, getting points or whatever. I was like, But this one is actually going as the heroes to fight the monsters through a campaign journey, and it seems like it has an incredible combat system, an incredible story system, and building up these characters in this awesome world. I'm just excited for it. It looks incredible, and that is why it's my number 5, Tidal Blades, Rise of the Unfolder. My number 4 is Mad Max, the game. That's right, you run around with motorcycles and cars, throwing grenades and machine guns and shotguns and dynamite at each other. Fires are blowing up, you're ramping off stuff, and that is Thunder Road Vendetta, coming from one of my favorite publishers, Restoration Games. They take super old, crusty games that looked cool but weren't actually that good, throw on a new fresh coat of paint on them and make them way better, and that is this game. It is a cult classic now being brought back. I'm excited for it. It looks incredible, great art, this cool world of just racing cars, smashing them into each other. It's like Hot Wheels on crack, and if you grew up with Hot Wheels like me, that sounds dope. I'm excited for it. My number 4, Thunder Road Vendetta. Number 3 comes from a cartoon series and a world which I barely know very much about, but I've always kind of liked in some way, and that is what I knew as the He-Man universe, but it's actually called Masters of the Universe, this game, The Clash for Eternia. So He-Man, Skeletor, Orko, that's like the only characters I know, but there's a bunch more of them, and they're like these colorful cartoon villains and heroes from like 80s cartoons, kind of like the Super Friends, just wacky. And pretty much you're taking teams of 4 of them and just battling out in scenarios in this cool fantasy sci-fi world where you got laser pistols, swords, freaking giant tiger battle cats, and skeleton warriors. And each of the heroes is different. You get to upgrade them different, and they battle differently, but each of them is also pretty simple to understand. So I'm really excited for this type of game where each game is different scenarios. You might be escorting the queen, you might be trying to uncover treasure, you might be trying to steal something from the Castle Grayskull itself. I don't know, but I'm excited for all these different characters, how they work different scenarios. I'm just jazzed. So that is my number 3, come from one of my favorite companies, CMON, Masters of the Universe, The Clash for Eternia. My number 2 is my favorite mode in FIFA or any sports video game brought to the tabletop. And this one might leave you a little less frustrated, and that is 11 Football Manager from Portal Games. This game takes that franchise mode, the idea of owning a sports team, a soccer club specifically, building up the stadium, trading for players, scouting, building up your staff, setting lineups for games, and it brings it to a board game, and I'm excited for it to see what it's like. And that is why it is my number 2, 11 Football Manager. My number 1 is Lands of Galsdir, the game. I'm excited for it. It's animals running around a world telling stories, and it has this cool dice system. I'm excited for it. It looks incredible. And with all that being said, catch you guys on the flip side.